Minnesota is on fire. 70,000 people on the brink of deportation. Entire slums are actually getting wiped out in real time by the Trump nation. It's kind of diabolical, honestly. They're doing investigations into Ilhan Omar to see if they can actually try to deport her. Stephen Miller was banned from CNN for being too based, so he went on Fox News to absolutely destroy them. This might be one of the craziest videos of all time. Oh, and also there's this one girl from a Cinnabon store that got absolutely blasted by the internet, only to realize that this was after she was getting sexually harassed. That's why she called them the N-word. This is one of the most diabolical videos of all time. There is so much to talk about. Things are actually happening, and unfortunately, mainstream news doesn't really talk about this to this degree. So we have a lot to see. So first, Trump absolutely cooked.
Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand.
Oh.
That's for Minnesota.
None.
No. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history.
True. It's seriously retarded.
Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban.
Oh, no.
I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's in a country where, I mean, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military. They have no nothing. They have no parliament.
True, they have camels.
They don't know what the hell the word parliament means.
They have donkeys.
Nothing. They have no police.
True.
They police themselves. They kill each other all the time.
That's right.
I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her.
Bro is vibing.
She married her brother in order to get in.
Oh?
She married her brother.
She married her brother, according to the president. Wow. Not very nice.
Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that?
He's right.
She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
Nothing but bitch. Dude, he is on a generational run right now. And send her back.
And we have our savior.
We have our savior. Yeah, we know who that is. All right, so anywho, this is truly diabolical. And she's gay. She has the little head thing. She doesn't even pray to the right God, some would even say. But anywho, that's not the problem, it seems. Anywho, so absolutely obliterates her. Absolutely annihilates her. It's crazy. And it looks like send her back is happening. Now, notice, Trump directly said she married her brother and is illegal here. She's not suing him for defamation. They tried to sue Trump for everything. They tried absolutely everything against Trump, but there must be a reason why she's not suing him for defamation. I would argue it's because the ultimate defense for defamation is the truth. But he kept cooking. This was not the only diabolical thing he said on this speech.
I've also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries.
Base!
I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the senators they came in? The Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries?
True!
Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark. Do you mind sending us a few? Send us some nice people. Do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing
I'm
they're
so happy he's actually saying it.
good at is going after ships.
The only thing they're good at is going after ships. They're all pirates, dude. Oh my god. So anyway, this is what's going on in Minnesota high schools, right? These bullshit woke high schools are letting all of the students out to go on school organized protests against ICE. This is grooming. They're literally grooming retards over here, man. That's insanity. Absolute insanity. Defund all that. What are we doing? So there was this giant fake news story that I didn't see anyone cover, which is why we're doing it. But essentially, giant story that ICE is actually kidnapping Americans.
Now to a story that you'll only see here on Fox 9.
Only on Fox 9. For the record, Fox 9 is Minnesota liberal news.
A citizen born in Edina spent a night in jail after ICE agents arrested her in downtown Minneapolis this week.
And that is according to the victim's cousin, who says the agents also mocked the Somali woman's hijab.
According to the victim's cousin. This is the journalistic integrity that you see in the media. According to the victim's cousin, he's a racist. The ICE agents are racist.
And touched her inappropriately. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni.
That's right. According to the victim's cousin, the ICE agent groped the Somalian lady in the hijab. All right, case closed.
Spoke with the woman's cousin this afternoon. It took more than 24 hours for the feds to release her.
Yeah, her cousin says she spent the night in a jail in Elk River after agents picked her up near...
Her cousin says. Could you believe this is in the media? Could you believe this is actually in the media?
Nicolette Mall on Wednesday.
They're saying cousin instead of husband because cousins and husbands in Somalia, there's a lot of overlap.
He says she was out running an errand when multiple ICE agents jumped out of two cars and zip-tied her. She's too shaken up to talk publicly, but her cousin, who did not want to show his face...
It's her husband. It's definitely her husband. Her cousin's her husband.
Because of his own immigration status, told us what happened.
Because he's illegal! They know that this guy's illegal, and they're still They're taking the word of an illegal alien to the media over actually getting any facts. Do you understand how diabolical this is?
What could you be hiding under your hijab and stuff like that? And then they even made a joke saying this would be...
I think that's a valid question, to be honest. It's a valid question. I mean, you see people in hijabs, you don't know if they're women, if they're men, if they're pregnant, if they have suicide vests. I don't know. I'm not like being racist or anything. You really don't know. I think it's definitely, it's important to figure it out.
The wrong attire to try and run away from us. And I feel upset. Obviously, it brings me a lot of anxiety and stress because this is my family. And right. I mean, I call Minnesota home.
Her cousin says they let her...
He doesn't say, I live here. He doesn't say I'm American. I call Minnesota home. Not that I'm legal here.
Go only after her husband showed them her passport card proving that she is a citizen. The cousin works as a paralegal at a Golden Valley law firm.
Oh my
His
God.
boss is an immigrant.
So according to the cousin, this lady was captured and groped even though she's a citizen.
Attorney, she is not representing the woman here, but says what happened is troubling.
It's concerning for a number of reasons. First and foremost, ICE doesn't have jurisdiction over United States citizens. So
anyway, they all keep yapping and talking about this. This is a 10-minute news segment based on hearsay of the cousin of some random girl who they have no idea what actually happened, that the cousin claims it's a citizen. All right, are we on the same page? All right, dude, it's absolutely diabolical. This is from the Homeland Security Committee Democrats, okay? So this is like a Democrat Homeland Security official government account, okay? It has the gray check. It's an official government account. Now, let's do a little look-see. Let's do a little look-see. According to the Department of Homeland Security, another hoax that's discussing the media would run with an anonymous, unnamed allegations. ICE did not arrest or sexually assault a Somali U.S. citizen. These types of smears are leading to our officers facing more than 1,050% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. There is zero evidence that any of this actually happened, even if Edna from The Incredibles thinks it's true. Absolute insanity. Now, the Department of Homeland Security has actually been going insane. Actually been going crazy. So, they re-edited a Salt Lake Tribune article. They replaced a Utah soccer coach was following exactly the process to get legal status, but ICE arrested him anyway. And they edited it to, in fact, say a Utah sodomite was abusing children, but ICE arrested him anyway. Which I think is a much more accurate way to portray the situation of a coach, pedophile, illegal that got deported. All right, you have to understand, this is a soccer coach, pedophile, retard, illegal that got deported. And they're like, the soccer coach, yeah, leave our innocent gay pedophiles alone. Leave our gay pedophiles alone. God damn it. So anyway, this is who we're up against, man. But we have to get back to mini Somalia, which is currently in Minnesota, because it's absolutely insane. So it turns out, so you know the famous stat, the 1350 stat? All right, 13% of the mages do about 50% of the black magic. Well, 6% of Minnesota's population, 62% of Minnesota's violent criminals. So let's just say in Minnesota, the stats are infinitely worse. The stats are 10 times. 10 times. In Minnesota, if you are a man of African descent, the chances of you being a violent criminal are 10 times if you are a white guy. Again, not trying to be controversial here or anything. I'm just noticing that this is pretty fucking crazy. This is pretty insane. This is insane. 6% of the population, 62% of the criminals. It's crazy to even think about this, man. It's crazy to even think about this, dude. Like, this is crazy. What did we gain from importing all these retards? Holy crap. Oh my God. So anyway, the Somalia Police Department in Minnesota decided to come together to release a video talking about how the police are going to fight against ICE. In my opinion, this is treason, and the National Guard should roll in and arrest all these guys. So this is his statement.
اسمع قانا ayaa ka calaasamiis waa fahan Soomaa arinta soo xigtay tahay dii inuu aad hubin inuu yahay dawlad sida ICE inuu yahay ama uu yahay askari oo aad hubin inuu
What do you notice about this statement? Do you notice anything?
qof kasta waxaan kula soo wacda Minneapolis police 9
he said Minneapolis police and then the rest I didn't understand. So anyway, and that was basically how he communicated with the people, because it's not like they speak English, the illegals. So essentially this is fucking crazy. This is treasonous. I would say this is straight up treasonous, man. So now I'm gonna show you more about this story later, because this is the cinnamon bun story is actually insane. So I'm gonna fill you in on all that lore in just a minute. So the Democrats, this is from the official Democrats Twitter account. All right, the Democrats released this image. Why is it we are only taking people from shithole countries? And the Democrats said this is disgusting bigotry. However, this is demonstrably true. This is completely and utterly accurate. This is 100% true. Why are we taking people from shithole countries? It's not bigotry to not want to destroy our country. It's like, literally. But actually, radical Islamic terrorists deserve a place in the United States too. No, they don't. They absolutely don't. What are you talking about? So Stephen Miller responds with, the central plank of the Democratic Party is to import every dysfunctional society into your town until you are completely cut off from everything you have ever known. Completely true. They are an actual enemy of the people. And if we lose another election, we might lose our entire country. We really might. Look at what's happening to England, dude. This is insane. They literally want to open the floodgates to the orcs. They don't want to even deport the illegal orcs. Ilhan Omar has been insane about it. Ilhan Omar has been going out to talk about how Somalians are the most important members of society. The U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. Somalians must have the authority to take over the country. Now, everyone thought Israel was controlling the United States, but in reality, it was a inbred culture of 68 IQ retards that were controlling the United States. You thought it was the Jews. The Jews with the average IQ of 120? No. It was actually the Somalians with the average IQ of 60. They were the ones that were controlling the country. Those guys were actually in charge, you fools. Actual fools. So Elon Musk says this sounds like treason, because obviously it is. Trying to control the country is insane. But no, this is wild. This is absolutely diabolical. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, Trump's been rightfully shitting all over her. Now, the craziest twist is that Tom Homan, the borders they sound like orcs too. I'm sorry. I can't get over it. So, anywho, get ready. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready. They want to actually deport her.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars.
Yep.
They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story.
How is it possible that this has never been refuted?
That's clearly a deportable offense. Yeah. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says that, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? who run DOJ. So I'm pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at it. But this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something's actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down.
Good. Love that. Now do it. Now get the net guns and start doing it. Okay? Please. You have to. Oh, my Lord. Dude, this is like the #1 thing he ran on, man. Trump ran on. They have to do it. Enough saying you're going to do it. Roll in there with fucking net guns, all right? Get snipers with tranq darts. I don't give a shit. You gotta get them out, man. You gotta get them out. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully it works out. So anyway, Stephen Miller, recently banned from CNN, decided to go on to Fox News. And this might be one of the most insane, correct, just objectively true based statements ever. And this is the statement, from what I understand, that got him permanently banned from CNN.
Not only is the first generation unsuccessful, again, Somalia is a clear example here. Not only is the first generation unsuccessful, but you see persistent issues in every subsequent generation. So you see consistent high rates of welfare use, consistent high rates of criminal activity, consistent failures to assimilate. But this shouldn't be a surprise, Will. It's just common sense. If Somalians cannot make Somalia successful, why would we think that the track record would be any different in the United States? Go third world country by third world country. No one's saying, look, there are people all over the world that are great people. But you look at the society. If Libya keeps failing, if the Central African Republic keeps failing, if Somalia keeps failing, right? If these societies all over the world continue to fail, you have to ask yourself, if you bring those societies into our country and then give them unlimited free welfare, what do we think is going to happen? You're going to replicate the conditions that they left over and over and over again. And we mask the impact of immigration in every public policy issue we discuss. We talk about test scores. Well, if you subtract immigration out of test scores, all of a sudden our test scores skyrocket.
That was the craziest line ever, because I never considered it from that perspective. Because if you look at the actual graph, test scores keep getting worse and worse and worse. More and more and more, a higher and higher percent of people are illiterate and can't do math and can't graduate high school. And I was like, wow, the school system's just dog shit. And to be fair, I do think it is dog shit. But I never considered the fact that we are literally importing retards. Like, bro! Average IQ 67 in Somalia. When we import communities of these guys, it tanks the fucking test scores. We have 30 million illegals in here, man. Bro, this is diabolical. Diabolical! So yes, the test scores are getting worse, true. But we're not addressing the elephant in the room, and that is we are importing retards.
If you subtract immigration out of healthcare, all of a sudden, we don't have nearly the size of the healthcare challenges our country faces. If you subtract immigration out of public safety, all of a sudden, we don't have violent crime in so many of our cities. Issue after issue, we talk about these things as they just happen to us. The schools just suddenly fail. Violent crime just suddenly, the deficit just suddenly skyrockets. These are a result of social policy choices that we made through immigration.
And the thing is, he's just objectively right. Obviously, if you import people with an IQ of 67, it's obviously going to tank literally every part of public life. Now, I'm going to tell you what the Somali response is to this. The response is simple. The response is, Ugluk ubangrok shaput jok saruman, glob bob shosh sky. That's the response. And I think it's pretty well worded, honestly. I think I made a pretty good point. Anywho, now moving on. We have to talk about what's going on in Somalian restaurants, man, in Minnesota. So as you can see, in a Wendy's, all right, in a Wendy's, you have women super covered up with the hijab and everything. They're Somalian and all that. But you will notice something really suspicious about her feet.
A Somali immigrant employee at a Wendy's burger restaurant.
Bro, stop, that's gross. I've never seen this before.
Was fired after a customer complained that she was working barefoot. The incident happened earlier this week at a Wendy's.
And by the way, there's pushback against this too. There's actual pushback. It's like, oh my God, she's not cooking with her feet. Why do you care, bro?
His location in the Midwest. A customer said he walked up to the counter to place an order and immediately noticed the female server had no shoes and no socks on. According to him, she was moving between the kitchen area and the register while completely barefoot.
Bro.
He said it made him lose his appetite, so he recorded a short clip and sent a complaint to Wendy's customer service.
Bro, I'll be real. This is like, you know, this is worse than Zoran Mamdani eating rice slop with his bare hands. Because at least he was feeding himself. All right, here you got guys in these restaurants wandering around with their barefoot. It's actually shocking. It's actually shocking, man.
Management reacted quickly. Several employees said the
CNN will say she's white, by the way.
Woman was taken into the office the same day and was told she could not continue working without shoes. When she explained that her feet were swollen from a possible pregnancy.
What does that mean, a possible pregnancy? That was her defense? I'm possibly pregnant? I don't know. I had steamy sex with my cousin/husband yesterday. Get out of here, bro.
And regular shoes caused pain. Managers still decided to remove her from her shift. By the next morning, she was officially terminated. Some people online defended her, saying she looked uncomfortable.
And of course, she gets defended by retards online. What do you mean? What do you mean? What's wrong with her being fat, retarded, and not having shoes? Anyway, dude, I can't stand this bullshit. This bullshit. Now, you have to understand the lore of what's going on in this cinnamon bun, all right? So a U.S. woman was harassed by Somalians for not wearing a hijab. She fought back, got fired, and raised over $50,000 in defense. Now, this is the full story, but this is not how the story was initially told. So the Somalians showed this video. They published this video. All right, this video went super viral about how this racist white woman is truly evil, all right?
Sexualizing your body makes you a better person.
Are you recording?
I'm gonna record you, yes.
Do you want me to throw water on you?
Right, so, oh my God, so racist. Do you want me to throw water on you? And then I'm pretty sure she called her the N-word or something, which is based as fuck. Because that's what happens when you're an asshole. So anyway, so she's here in a cinnamon bun. They published the cropped video trying to cancel her, but the reality is, the video, so look how insane this is. There's what the video didn't show. The couple allegedly harassed her for not wearing a hijab and then only hit record after provoking her. However, she was fired, calling her reaction disturbing. This is truly insane. And she made over $50,000 on Gifts and Go. Dear Somali, this is essentially what people are feeling right now. So Decoy Voice made a little video on that. So we're gonna look at this Decoy Voice video because I didn't see like the full story. And then we're gonna look at actual destruction of the slums. The Somalian slums in Minnesota are getting torn apart.
The more I learn about this Cinnabon incident, the less faith I have in society as a whole. As first she was this evil woman shouting slurs. Then they said she was actually being harassed by the man. Then someone crowdfunded her $100,000. Then people started claiming she's a far-left Democrat with a criminal record, where nobody knows what's really going on, but grifters will still get rich over the division. As initially, this video went viral.
Never seen a Karen be so racist.
I am racist. And you are.
You are. No,
I am racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
You ruined your life, by the way.
Oh, talking about you're not gonna be working here. Wow, look how you look like.
What's wrong with you?
Ugly.
And this clip.
All right, so that clip went super viral. Super mega viral. And obviously everyone canceled her because this is just her being racist against these people, which is pretty insane.
Looks horrible. No employee should be shouting slurs at a customer while telling them to inhale their front tail. But sadly, whenever a viral video starts mid-argument, I'm willing to bet there was a deceptive edit that carefully clips out whatever started the fight. As the original clip.
Nux, look at the goals. Wait. Goal 109 to 100. Oh my god. All right, so I'm sure none of you got it, but $109,110. That is the meme is that Jews were kicked out of 109 different countries, going on 110. That's the meme. All right, pretty good. The second goal is 271,000. Oh my god, this guy's a fucking mad lad. Holy shit! Got updated to 271. So 271,000. That is the false numbers that people like saying the amount of Jews that were killed in the Holocaust. It was only 271,000, which is completely and utterly, obviously debunked and untrue. But it's pretty awesome. It's pretty hilarious. So yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, anti-Semitic gifts and go fundraiser for a racist Karen. I mean, honestly, that fits. I'm not even mad. I respect it.
Got over 11 million views in 2 days, saying they innocently came in to buy food, but the employee randomly started making fun of her hijab, then called them a slur. To which Cinnabon responded, the franchise owner has immediately terminated the employee. And with that framing,
so she's equally racist? No, she didn't make the gifts and go. Someone else made the gifts and go.
The store owner had to fire her unless they wanted their building to be burned down. But then, people started questioning the authenticity of the poster's story since they appear to have a history of lying. For the rest of the video, the victim,
imagine just trusting a random Twitter user with no evidence,
chose to post, sheds light as to why the employee was so angry.
Sexualizing your body makes you a better person.
Are you recording?
Sexualizing your body makes you a better person. Oh my god. Oh my god. So this Somalian guy said that she's sexualizing her body because she's not wearing a hijab.
I'm gonna record you. Yes.
Do you want me to throw water on you? I am racist.
As it really seems like the customers were shaming her over not wearing their religion's attire. Maybe I'm missing something, but how is a hoodie and Cinnabon apron inappropriate in any way in America?
Because she's not wearing a hijab, because they don't care about America, because they want to turn America into a caliphate of Somalia. What are you talking about, obviously?
But again,
her hair was revealed in public. Her hair was literally in public. What do you mean?
This was the segment that they were willing to share. That interaction had a bit more than them calling her immodest. So
yeah, no, that's bad. Now, my nuclear hot take is if you're working in a restaurant, you should just suck it up and not be like a net negative on the restaurant's reputation. That's my opinion. I think that she should have still just sucked it up at that point. You know, they'd be like, bitch, you a hoe. I could see your ankles, all right? I see your ankles, whore. Bro, your sleeves are rolled up, whore. Right, you know? Like, honestly, it's disgusting. But if you're an employee in a restaurant, then you should want to not actually have a crash out. A justified crash out if it would have been in public. But if you're an employee in a restaurant, I think you should have the wherewithal to actually stand up for, like, your environment. But anyway, that's my opinion. Whatever.
Someone started a crowdfund for Crystal, stating since Cinnabon wouldn't stand with her, they'll make sure she lands on her feet. As it currently sits at over
that's the 271,000
for $110,000, much more than she'd ever make at Cinnabon. Now on the other side, the alleged victims started a GoFundMe, as their side says Cinnabon's atmosphere was not welcoming.
You need a GoFundMe? Cause hold up. Oh my god. You need a GoFundMe because the atmosphere was uncomfortable? Oh, get out of here.
Barely received any caramel. And then the employee attacked the customer's attire, making fun of her faith and modesty. So now the victims are traumatized.
Oh, get out of here. Dude, you know, nothing traumatizes Muslims more than people in the West. Have you noticed? You'll have different Muslim groups murdering each other in the Middle East. Not traumatizing, not offended. But some random guy in the West said something relatively innocuous. Oh, that's super offensive. The Muslims are mad now. Oh, get the fuck out of here. This is like the perpetual victim card. It's unbelievably, like, annoying. Like, holy shit. Oh my god. That's crazy. And it's every single time. The funniest part, it's literally every single time. You know, 9/11 happens, 3,000 Americans get murdered. Muslims most affected. You know, and it's every single time. You know, Zoran Mamdani running for mayor. Oh my god, he's facing Islamophobia now, and he cries on camera. Absolute fucking retard. Inshallah, you'll get deported, as they say in England. This is wild, man. Absolutely wild. And people eat it up. And like, and I'm telling you, man, it's the libtards actually eat this shit up for breakfast. Right? Hamas attacks Israel. Israel fights back. Oh my god, I can't believe Israel would be doing such a thing. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. What would you want them to do if they murdered, 1,500 of your people and took 300 hostages? Like, what should they not do anything? Like, it's such an unbelievable, disgusting mentality, and they do it every time, and it always works. It always works.
Scared to go outside, saying they'll need money for legal fees and an attorney to pursue justice.
Pursue justice? This is America. She's allowed to call you the N-word. She's allowed legally. It is her First Amendment right to call you retarded. Get out of here. Go legal fees? Literally, dude, move back to Somalia. Oh my God. Oh my God. Get out of here. Holy. Bro, that's wild. That's actually wild. Now, the funny thing is, Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. If you draw a cartoon of Mohammed, peace be upon him, you go to jail. All right? Like, do you understand? Do you understand?
Asking for help.
It's like, I want everything to be under Sharia law, except I'm going to use your liberties against you.
In finding a lawyer that'll take this case. So somehow the story went from, all they wanted is a little extra caramel and she started shouting slurs, to, well, actually it was an argument over dressing modestly. Then someone carefully clipped out that aspect and demanded Cinnabon take action. But that'll never be enough, as they want to sue this now unemployed woman, with others online demanding she go to jail. But the grift doesn't end.
Jail? Jail? Because she said the N-word? Oh my God, this is insane.
As a leftist complaining this Cinnabon employee is raising money, stating this is the kind of stuff Trump is breeding. The problem being, social media sleuths are claiming she seems to be a far-left Democrat, and also connecting her to some pretty serious crimes. But I'm not exactly certain that's the same person, just the same name and relative appearance. But either way, they're trying to make this political, but I don't see how the Trump administration finding Somalian fraud connects to a Cinnabon employee crashing out at someone that happens to be the same ethnicity. Not over fraud, but caramel sauce, spiraling into an argument over religion. But the side most outraged.
Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. So she's probably a leftist. It's probably a leftist that's crashing out, and everyone's blaming Trump.
Outraged by her behavior seems to be on her side politically, with the people crowdfunding her a six-figure payday being on the complete opposite, reminding us again the division in America may be untenable, as this is becoming a trend, as that similar Shiloh incident also made her rich. But shockingly, even if the incident results in killing, if race is involved, people will contribute to the crowdfund, as this is yet another escalation in the horrifying rift that is American politics.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Anywho, I really wanted to look into the slums in Minnesota getting absolutely obliterated. So we're going to continue race grifting. Definitely subscribe. But it's getting really hairy out there.
A U.S. official says that ICE is planning a surge of agents to the Twin Cities.
Right. The AP reports that enforcement operation will focus on Somali immigrants living unlawfully here.
So after canceling the temporary protected status for citizens of several different countries, it looks like President Trump is making new moves to enforce immigration laws, which have allegedly been broken for decades in Minnesota, where sanctuary cities encourage those without lawful permission to reside in America indefinitely until now.
Moments ago, the president doubling down with tough words targeting Minnesota's Somali community. But that community says they're not backing down. Local lawmakers say that they've already heard of a handful of arrests over the past couple of days.
Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's incompetent. He should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful...
This is happening in Minnesota?
State. It's a hellhole right now.
We are not backing down. We're not afraid. We're not going anywhere.
This is crazy. This is like a war zone. This is wild.
This is our home. This is our country.
You told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means
50% of them. It's still such a crazy number to even think about. It's such a crazy thing to think about.
that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose.
Some guy's asking me, give me passport, give me a green card. Why?
I've been here since 1994. I was only 3 years old when I came, and this is...
Bro, you have people, bro, I've been here for 20 years. Why should I be legal? Why should I get a green card? No. Deport. And you only get one seat on the plane, no matter how fat you are. Fats don't get extra seats on the deportation plane, okay? Get out of here.
It's my home, and this has got to stop.
You cannot just say this is my home, be there for illegally, and not like what are we even talking about? Sorry, bitch. If you are here illegally, you gotta go.
We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other.
He's completely correct here, by the way. For the record, he's completely right. 100%. This is factually a tipping point. Because if we lose an election and we get a libtard to open the borders, we will no longer have a country. They'll steal all the future elections from that moment forward. That they are working on stealing democracy, man. That is literally the strat. And aside from elections, it's gonna make violence worse. It's gonna make all this the race war worse. It's just so sad.
So opponents of this new operation say it's pointless because they claim it's only targeting people who are already citizens. But nobody's talking about how, if there are not large numbers of people living in Minnesota illegally, this operation is nothing anybody should be concerned about. In fact, it should be.
That's the reality every single time. You have to understand, that's the reality every time. ICE is only deporting illegals, all right? Sure, they're arresting people that are violent as well, or obstructing justice. Not nearly enough, but they should. But this is crazy.
A complete waste of the president and ICE's time. And if those against this are correct, it means President Trump is about to send the entire ICE deportation machine on a wild goose chase. And unlike recent successful immigration enforcement operations in sanctuaries like Chicago, the Marines won't find anyone in Minnesota breaking the law, and they'll come up short.
That's right. What are you scared about? If no one's breaking the law, what do you mean? What do you mean? We already lost the country to immigration. Trump isn't deporting enough to counter 4 years of Biden. Well, first of all, it is infinitely better than nothing. All right, that's one of the Nick Fuentes takes I disagree with. Now, I agree with him that Trump is not doing enough. However, I disagree with him that it's basically nothing. You realize net migration is down for the first time ever. If the borders would still be Biden borders, we would have another million people in the country to deal with since Trump's election. Another 5-10 million. But meanwhile, multiple millions between self-deportations and ICE deportations, already over 1 million have left. You're right. I completely agree. It's not nearly enough, but it is infinitely better than nothing.
Nothing. Or the intense resistance to all of this means that there's something else going on here that some people really don't want anyone to know about. But let's ignore that for a second. Let's pretend that they're right. Let's pretend that there's really nothing going on here. What else could that mean? If that's true, wouldn't Minnesota be doing other sanctuaries a huge favor by drawing away ICE and Border Patrol from places like California and New York?
No one's using that logic, man. Literally no one is using that logic.
After all, if ICE has limited personnel and there's no lawlessness in Minnesota, isn't this...
But that's the thing. That's why these people are so diabolical. Because they lie. They lie about what ICE actually does. ICE's job is to deport illegals. They claim that ICE is actually just picking up any immigrant. That's their lie. They use that lie to create fake outrage. That is the point. The point of the lie is to get people riled up and mad. And it works. It works on these people because these people don't actually know the truth. The reality is it's only illegals getting deported. Now, this lie is one of the most dangerous lies ever. And quite honestly, I think that it's an FCC violation for CNN to keep repeating it, that they're going after immigrants when they're so clearly going after illegals. I think that the Trump administration should crack down on the propaganda. Absolutely. And I'll be real, people can yell and scream fascism, but we need drastic, draconian steps to get this country back in order. And we only have another 3 years to do it. So the reality is, you need to squash this shit. They need to mobilize the National Guard. And no matter how much people bitch and cry, if you obstruct justice, you need to go to jail.
A fantastic opportunity to handicap the only law enforcement agency hated by socialists and progressives more than their own police. Well, as you can probably tell by the insane reaction to Law and Order showing up in a city where there is alleged lawlessness, something's going on. People want to keep it hidden, and the real reason this operation's happening is because it has to be uncovered. In fact, this is already happening. ICE has been making arrests in Minnesota for weeks, removing federal fugitives.
Yeah, I knew that they were doing like 1 or 2 at a time, but I didn't realize they were actually sending in the deportation force.
From all across the globe with criminal and gang connections from the streets of this state while being chased around by the same sanctuary mobs that seem to follow them around.
Dude, every single person that's not a citizen should not have the right to protest. That's my opinion. The First Amendment is not a right for non-citizens. It's not. It's for Americans. If you are literally leaving, if you are here, all right, as a non-citizen, I don't care if you're on a visa, permanent residence, asylum seeker. I don't care. I don't care. If you're not a citizen, you do not have the First Amendment right of protest. Because, quite honestly, we don't need you here. You're here. This isn't your home. And you're going to make our country worse? You're going to turn our country into a shithole? Nah, man, they got to go. They got to go. You protest, you lose your right to be here. They'll revoke you. They should revoke visas from anyone that protests.
No matter.
But what about freedom of speech? Nah, freedom of speech is only for citizens. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, dude, you look at this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, or whatever, this guy, this pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist guy that's, you know, riling up all these people in campuses, and he's on, like, some student visa or something, and everyone's fighting for him, trying to protect his freedom of speech. He's not a citizen. Get him the fuck out. Get him the fuck out. The Constitution is a privilege to Americans, all right? It is not a privilege to foreigners that are coming here purely to disrupt American culture. And it's so frustrating that this isn't happening, like, just broadly. Oh my God, but freedom of speech, but I don't care. The response really needs to be, I don't care. What about freedom of speech? I don't care. Doesn't apply to you. Get the fuck out. Shut up or get out. And we need to do it that way. We need to do it that way.
Where in the country they are. And like a typical sanctuary, the leaders of this place are already lying. They're already lying to their citizens to rile them up and get them to throw themselves at federal agents the second they see them.
I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that.
Do you know what this guy said to him, though? You know what he said to him? You know what this dude leaned in and said to this guy? Here, I'll translate.
Here to the community. The community should know.
That's what he said.
Know that if you see something like that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911 and you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not.
They're actually weaponizing the 911 police against the ICE agents. I think this is treason. I think Trump needs to crack down on these treasonous situations. And it's happening all over the country, so Trump honestly shouldn't take his time. He should not take his time every single step of the way. Bro, get out of here. Get out of here. Just grab them. You know what? Throw them in a hole, all right? And let them wait for a trial. No, of course. Due process. Of course they can have due process. And they will have a trial, and they can wait for the trial in a hole. That's my opinion.
Forget. And
you know what? It'll take a long time until the trial shows up. You know why? Because there's so many people doing this. Man, that must suck. It must suck for you to be 47th in line for your trial. Well, anyway, we'll keep you in a hole, and we'll make you wait.
Very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene.
Oh, so the sanctuary police here, if they see ICE agents using what could be construed as excessive force, or if they get a call that excessive force is being used, the chief says they have a duty to intervene, and
which means shoot them. All right, this is an armed militia of seditious extremists.
Go after federal agents who are out there doing their jobs to keep our country safe by getting people who are in our country without permission, regardless of where they're from, off the streets. And now the sanctuary chief here says the police have a duty to resist that. Really? If that happens, we could be talking about the first time in American history where a police force has attempted to use force to stop the federal government, which could be the beginning of a civil war in America, all to protect fugitives. And
I don't think there's going to be a civil war. I know that everyone's screaming and chanting civil war. I don't think there's going to be a civil war during Trump's term. During the term after Trump, maybe. But I think during Trump's term, there will not be a civil war. And my reasoning is very simple. That's because the left would lose. Really? Really? You want a bunch of gay hippies going up against the actual armed majority of the country? Like, get out of here. Get out of here. So that's why I believe that there's going to be no civil war during Trump's term. During the next term, there might be, but during Trump's term, there won't.
Criminals who, according to this very same chief, may be connected to other crimes against actual Minnesotan residents. But it gets even worse.
And obviously, everyone knows that our president is racist.
What?
Xenophobic, and we are.
Oh. This is their only thing. This is like the 67 IQ argument that literally pops out every single time. This is crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna fight that. America has a history of fighting and stopping those kind of individuals.
He literally wants someone to kill Trump. He literally wants someone to kill Trump, man.
Who continue to divide people.
Everyone knows the president is racist. What a ridiculous statement. That is such a loaded statement, and it's a disgusting smear that we all know isn't true. And it's not gonna work because immigration law transcends all of the things this individual just mentioned. The law does.
I mean, to be fair, I wish Trump was a little more racist sometimes. Sometimes I see Trump and I'm like, bro, can you be a little more racist, please, sir? Although he did get better. He has gotten better recently. When that Afghan guy shot the 2 National Guard in Washington, D.C., bro had a couple of really good pop-off moments. So I feel like Trump needs to get a little more racist these days, just openly. And they'll call him racist, and he'll say, I don't give a fuck. I'm protecting the country. And honestly, that's the way to work. That's the way to go. Like, you have to stop letting these labels affect you.
Doesn't care where someone is from as long as they're in the country legally. If they are, ICE can't do anything.
But they don't know that. Or the people in charge know that, but the actual citizens don't know that. You have to realize, you got a population of sub-70 IQ inbred cousin fuckers that are out here stealing shit from the government constantly. Their number one allegiance is to Somalia and their fellow Somalis instead of America, and some of them are being threatened. The news is saying all of them are being threatened. So this is how they respond. Isn't that obvious? And the Minnesota government is working with them because they are the voting bloc that's deciding the Minnesota government elections. So of course the government, the congresswoman, and the mayor, and all those people are going to be on their side because they put them in power. They only exist because of their constituents who are largely illegal retards. Oh my God.
Which, according to the opponents of this operation, 95% of the people living here have absolutely nothing to worry about because they're already U.S. citizens. This apparently doesn't affect anybody. So why are people so upset? Why is there this need to rile up the masses and tell them that evil is descending upon their neighborhood? In fact, if that's happening, if this horrible operation is about to take place and everyone's at risk, what you're about to see shouldn't have happened at all?
Yes.
What was that about?
I don't know. These guys just randomly take me off. I'm a citizen of this country, and they take me off and they hold me. They detain me here. I don't know what they're doing.
They take interview. I don't know why they take interview here.
Okay, so these gentlemen...
Bro, living proof that you're not getting arrested unless you're illegal.
Gentlemen allegedly just had an encounter with immigration officers who checked their IDs and didn't do anything and left the scene because these guys are citizens. They've got nothing to worry about. Now, I understand that perhaps one could be a little perturbed if they get stopped and they have to identify themselves. But look, if you're not a criminal, what's the big deal? You know something? I've had interactions with police where they've asked me to identify myself. I'm not guilty of committing any crime. No problem. I identify myself. It should be the same thing here. But let's ask another question. Whose fault is it that these gentlemen who are U.S. citizens got stopped on the streets of their own city? Is it the fault of law enforcement who's trying to keep people safe, or is it the fault of their sanctuary leaders who told criminals this is a great place to live, this is a great place to come?
No, it's because why are people so upset at Somalis when the fraud was only committed by some Somalis? Well, the reason why people are upset is because it was done by some Somalis. It was done by some Somalis. It's like, no, I don't hate every Muslim. However, I am scared of some of them because the radicals have performed over 48,000 terrorist attacks since 9/11, as opposed to Christians or Jews or Hindus. None of those guys ever did any of that. None of them, actually. Whereas it's pretty weird.
And hide from the federal government. Whose fault is this? And how accurate is this 95% citizenship number?
Bombshell ICE sweep in Minneapolis-St. Paul finds 50% of immigrants had committed immigration fraud.
Wow.
50% of immigrants had committed immigration fraud in the city of...
Bring out the dart guns, bro. At this point, this is already a majority, like almost a majority.
The city of Ilhan Omar.
Wow.
The city of Jacob Frey.
That's crazy. It means the 95% number of people being in the city or the state with legal permission is a fraudulent number. And this perfectly explains the outrage machine kicking into overdrive while at the same time telling us there's nothing to...
It's crazy how easy it is to manipulate the retards, man. The media just goes out there and just shovels some lies down your throats, and then all of a sudden you're terrified. Oh, Trump is a racist, and he's just going after everybody that's black or Muslim. Get the fuck out, man. This is crazy, dude. Organize the nets. All right, literally.
To see here, there's no crime, there's no fraud, everybody here's legal, you're wasting your time if you come here, but don't come here, don't do it. Bad idea, it's wrong, you're a big meanie, it's evil to send ICE into a community, but by the way, there's nothing wrong here, so even if you send them, we don't really care, but don't do it.
No, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose.
Bro. I love this. I've mentioned this like every single time I can, but this means that either Waltz is in on the scheme or he was outsmarted by a bunch of guys with an IQ of 67. However you want to cut it, bro. Bro is cooked.
And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers.
That's crazy.
And we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back. And we're going to, this next year, make sure that we only put people in leadership positions in this country that love this country.
So if there's people who are living in a...
I mean, my opinion is that every dual citizen shouldn't be able to hold office. That's my opinion. I think that dual citizens shouldn't be able to hold public office in the United States of America. I don't care what two countries you're citizens of. If you are a dual citizen and you're running for office, you should renounce one of your citizenships. I think so. Like, if you're becoming a member of public office, you should only be a member of that country. Don't you have dual citizenship? Yeah, Canadian and American, but I'm not running for public office. And I think that, and I still, even as a dual citizen, I still think that as a rule, if you want to serve public office, you should be renouncing all your other citizenships. I absolutely think so. 100%. It's insane. It's insane. So now you have like people like Ilhan Omar, who's, you know, Somalian and American, maybe, if she didn't commit fraud, who knows. And the reality is she is not pro-America whatsoever. She hates America. What she does is bitch, as Trump said. And that's where we're at.
Place and committed a crime in order to stay and got fraudulent paperwork that legitimizes their fraudulent activity. That's something that should be looked into. That is theft. If you're going to do that, it's not only wrong, but you can only do that at the expense of everybody who's done things the right way. And I feel like that's what a lot of people miss about illegal immigration. It is an indefensible position to say that you're going to stick up for people who are in the country illegally, because...
He's completely right. He is completely and utterly correct. And it's absolutely insane. It is insane that people aren't taking this seriously. It's insane that people aren't taking this seriously whatsoever. Like, dude, all the problems get solved. All the problems get solved in the country, or at least, you know, on the way to being solved. It would help the economy, it would help the job market, it would help the housing market, it would help traffic, it would help long lines, it would help waits in hospitals, it would help healthcare, it would help everything if we deported illegals. And the left, they are literally trying to figure out solutions to every single part of society. Every single part. Well, actually, we don't need more jobs, we should just have socialism so people don't even have to work and they can get money anyway. Well, actually, we don't need to fix the healthcare system, we just need to give everyone infinite healthcare for free and turn the every hospital into the country into a shithole that doesn't actually use their Medicare system well, like in Canada, which is an absolute garbage medical system, and et cetera, et cetera. Every single piece needs a different nuanced solution that essentially fucks the country and taxes everyone more. The solution to all of these problems that are proposed by the left are just more communism and more taxes and more government control. When in reality, deporting people that have no right to be here would actually help every single issue in America. All of the issues would be benefited from this. They really would. every single issue.
The benefits that they're getting from their local government are limited. Money does not grow on trees, and that means there are less resources for people who are not criminals. But on top of that, apparently the fraud in Minnesota gets much worse because under the governor's watch, $1 billion scheme allowed money meant for children in need, for people who are hungry, and for other various assistance programs. It was all sent to groups who then transferred it out of the country without doing anything good with it.
Allegedly, it all went to the Al-Shabaab terrorist organization affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
Poof, the money's gone. And it's $1 billion that we're talking about here. A whole bunch of people have already been convicted. And while there is something big happening here that it looks like many people are trying to hide, the regular folks who live in Minnesota, well, they're wondering what's going to happen next. They got their leaders telling them one thing, they hear another thing from the media. What is their life going to be like?
More safe, business booming, you know?
Dude, I feel like every single person in Somalia should have a mandatory viewing of House of Cards on Netflix. How these leftist politicians are actually, like, the funny thing about House of Cards is that, like, it makes the main character, like, a leftist, so you're, like, rooting for him because he's the interesting character, but he's an absolutely degenerate piece of shit. He's, like, a sexual degenerate, unhappy, evil motherfucker, manipulative as shit, and essentially, and he's lying. He lies to his audience, and he lies to his people the entire time. He's lying to everyone about tricking people into fake shit and fake threats in order to steal votes. Like, that's essentially what the entire show is. And that's exactly what they're doing to these guys. It's crazy.
For some, the president's recent rhetoric isn't moving them.
I'm not worried about anything, I'll be honest with you. We're part of this country. We don't care what
if you're here legally, no big deal.
The pressure is real.
I've been here since 1994. I was only 3 years old when I came, and this is my home, and this has got to stop.
So, okay, if people...
The media never mentions if they're legal or illegal. They like blurring that line, and it's crazy. Like, they just say migrants are in danger. In fact, I just showed this clip to Think Before You Sleep, who was working on a video. I actually gave him a banger clip where essentially Zoran Mamdani is out here talking about how migrants are in danger, but he doesn't actually mention illegal migrants. He just says migrants in general, essentially because, you know, he's doing his absolute best to blur that line, to make it look like all migrants are actually endangered.
When I met with the president, I made very clear that these kinds of raids are cruel and inhumane, that they are raids that do nothing.
No, they're based as fuck. Get them all out.
To serve the interests of public safety. And that my responsibility is to be the mayor to each and every person that calls this city their home.
No, it's your job to be the mayor of the people that are actual legal residents of the city, not for people that call it home.
And that includes millions of immigrants, of which I am one.
Except immigrants are not at threat. There's no threat against immigrants. The threat is against illegal aliens. And it's crazy, and they love blurring that line every single time they possibly can.
People are here with permission. There's nothing to worry about. If somebody's here without permission, and they've been here for a long time, or their status is questionable at best, perhaps they need to figure that out. And what this could mean is that people like the business owner who we just saw, they don't have anything to worry about, but other people who aren't supposed to be here, well, if they're breaking the law and law enforcement comes knocking, they will be on their way out of America. Regardless, the idea that legal residents or people in any American community have something to worry about is absolutely fraudulent. If you're here and you're obeying...
At least for now. At least for now. What if it gets so bad that we're gonna have to start denaturalizing people? So maybe they should be a little scared. But don't be too scared, guys. Just a little scared, you know? A little bit of fear to attack you in your balls. A little bit of fear goes a long way. I'm kidding. I'm not fear-mongering here. But if you're legal, nothing's happening to you yet.
Our laws, and you didn't commit fraud or a crime to come here and get fake paperwork. You didn't lie and say your name was somebody else's name. What is ICE gonna do?
I do think we should be denaturalizing people that are breaking their vows when they enter. Like, you know, when you enter, you have to talk about how your allegiance is to America and stuff. If it turns out that your allegiance is not to America, I fully support denaturalizing and deporting those guys too. That's my opinion. I would denaturalize a couple million of these retards that support Hamas or whatever the fuck, Al-Shabaab or all these other retard countries. Absolutely.
to you. This whole idea that we've been experiencing for the last year, this narrative that ICE is out there kidnapping people and harming people and going after Americans, every single one of these stories is absolutely fake. The Americans who get arrested by ICE, they're part of these sanctuary mobs. The people who get taken off the streets and detained, they weren't kidnapped, they were arrested. And they faced due process, got that due process, and it ended with them leaving the country.
You came here to harass us? A few people here say they even noticed what they believe to be federal agents circling around the property today, but authorities haven't confirmed that. Still, the mall hasn't skipped a beat. And while we were speaking to business owners, the city's top leaders arrived.
Bro.
To beat. And while we were...
This is the ugliest jewelry I've ever seen in my entire life. Bro, look at this, man. Holy shit. This is ass. This is terrible.
Speaking to business owners, the city's top leaders arrived.
We love you. We love you.
I know.
We're going to stand with you, okay?
I know.
What does that mean? How can you say that you're going to stand with legal residents and illegal residents?
Because they lie. Because the entire strategy is to lie to the people and make it seem like all immigrants are at risk because of racism and Islamophobia. Because they lie. They lie to drum up fake outrage and chaos to stop Trump from deporting anyone so they can keep all their illegal voters.
At the exact same time. That is impossible. And if you stand with people who are here committing a crime, again, that crime only happens at the expense of the law-abiding. But there's another part of this I want to get into. When that next clip started, we saw people go up to a van full of federal agents and accuse them of harassing them. What is that about? When you see police and they're out there doing their job, keeping communities safe, they are not harassing people. No, they're doing what they need to do to tamp down on crime. And I myself have been a victim of what some people could say is police harassment. About 10 years ago, somebody committed a crime in front of my office. We had security cameras outside, and you know what? The police came into my business without my permission, and they said, "Hey, sir, we noticed you have some security cameras here. Did you see anything happen in the neighborhood?" They started asking me.
Bro, this is like what they're doing in Canada right now. See, Canada is such a cucked state, by the way, for the record. It's such a cucked country, and the entire Western world is at war right now. A lot of people are unaware, but the entire Western world is at war with themselves because there's this hyper-feminized culture that's taking over the entire West. And Canada is so cucked that they banned video cameras. That's right, security cameras are banned in a lot of places because that might video criminals without their consent. I'm not even joking. Like, you don't understand how cucked it is, right? So they're banning video cameras. They're banning self-defense weapons. You're not allowed to fight back when people break into your house. You should just let them take what they want and call the police, and hopefully they'll catch them. Like, you don't understand how cucked they are. And the media keeps them cucked. And since they are like, clearly they never fought in the revolution, because that's essentially where we're at. They are so hyper-feminized, retarded cucks that the media is telling them, oh, and Trump is a fascist. And Trump is bad, and Trump is evil. We're nice and kind. We're nice and kind. That's why the most popular language in Canada right now is Indian. Yep.
Questions, and I asked them what it was about, and they said a crime took place. And you know what? I don't like crime because I'm not a criminal. And you know what? They said, can we have your security footage? I said, take it. Take it, because I didn't do anything wrong. And if you're out here trying to catch a criminal, why would I stand against that? Why would I stop that from happening unless I myself benefit from crime in some way? And that is not harassment. That's just police doing their job. They've got to go out in the community. They've got to ask questions. And the idea that if you see police or if you see ICE, they're automatically harassing people, that is just a totally hostile idea right there.
And to say those and to use his own words, we're terrorizing the community. Are you kidding me?
Get out of here.
I mean, we're out there.
I mean, they use those words to foment this fear. That's the purpose. They're trying to turn America into like a Canada/England shithole.
Looking for illegal aliens and illegal alien criminals.
Right.
And look, we've done operations in Twin Cities, but you know what? The uncoverings of criminal activity that Secretary Nolan just talked about just elevated their priority status. So, yes, there's going to be an increase of activity up there. And
so that's the reason why ICE is on the way. They've already done operations in Minnesota. They've already had investigations into people being in the country illegally. But now that these fraud rings have been uncovered and that this is such a massive problem with billions of dollars leaving America to fund interests that are potentially dangerous.
Bro, they should put checkpoints on the roads. They should put checkpoints on the roads, man. People drive past the checkpoint, you check their legal status. All right? Oh my God. Like, we gotta do things on a much, much bigger level. Ramp it up, man. Getting 1 or 2 guys a day, this is not enough.
dangerous for citizens, not just here, but all across the world. I mean, like the border czar just said, that has elevated the priority of immigration enforcement in this place. If you've got sanctuary cities all across the country and you have one area where it's not only a sanctuary city, but billions of dollars are just vanishing, I mean, how can you say that that doesn't need to be looked at? And how can you accuse the people of looking into that and say, oh, they've got something against a certain group of people? No, they've got something against a certain group of people who happen to be criminals and are sending money out of the country. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're going to do that, that's like top priority right there.
If you get in with a gun, you get...
Wild. Bro, absolutely, they need checkpoints. And you know what? That could generate a whole lot of jobs, and it would be very useful. Oh, my God. Look, maybe I'm biased, because, look, I've been to Israel many times. There are checkpoints there, and they're great. They're actually fucking great. It really is. How many lives have been saved by a couple of guys that were absolutely doing racial profiling at checkpoints? All right? They're guys, they racial profile. All right? They see me, all right, some white American guy, and it's like, all right, you just go for it. It's okay. We don't even need to check you. And then, because realistically, the white American guys aren't doing fucking anything. They're not doing shit. So you get a couple of checkpoints to do some nice, good old-fashioned racial discrimination and start looking into this shit. That's what I'm saying. That's my hot take.
Get ATF right there to prosecute the case before we deport them. But I can tell you, focus is there. It's coming. But I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people are on the ground now, how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
Right.
And Tom,
Right. Criminal activity is not something that anybody should be okay with. Criminal activity shouldn't be defended as if the law enforcement agency looking into it has something against a particular neighborhood or street. No, it has nothing to do with that. This is about people committing crime at the highest levels, and it needs to stop. We can't have this in America, because if it's happening in one part of America, there's going to be criminals in other parts of the country that figure out.
Dude, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So the fraud, I think the entire welfare system needs to be completely and utterly revamped. Like, it needs to be destroyed. It needs to be obliterated and built back up into something else.
How to do this stuff too. And you know what? That may already be happening. Once we see what's really going on here in Minnesota with visa fraud and financial fraud and all of this money that's just getting sucked out of the wallets of the taxpayers. What are similar investigations going to uncover in other sanctuaries? What are they going to find in New York? What are they going to find in California? I don't even want to know the answer to that. Well, actually, I do, because I'm sure there's something going on.
I am proud to say I'm a Somali American. This country welcomed me, my family, 26 years ago. It has provided me a life that I did not have in Somalia.
That's nice.
We came here, and we are thankful to be here. I've been educated here, got the opportunity to serve my community, to be a council member.
So then, why would you have something against law enforcement maintaining?
Because the goal is importing infinite Somalians to conquer the country. That's the goal. That's the goal. And it's not just Somalians. So first of all, this is the stated goal of radical Islam. All right, this is the stated goal of the Muslim Brotherhood. Import infinite Muslims, outbreed, and take over. That's the stated goal. So even if you want to forget that, the issue is not you on an individual level. All right. The issue is that it is absolutely fucking our entire societies, or we're importing the third world. It's making crime worse. It's making taxes worse. It's literally just ruining everything.
All of the things that have allowed America to help and protect its legal residents. Why would you have something against an enforcement operation that seeks to remove people from America who broke the law to come here, continue breaking the law once they stay here, and maybe breaking other laws as well? How do lawbreakers make America the great place that so many people love? So many people from all across the world who've come here and come here legally and now call this their home and are proud to be citizens and have been educated and protected and have been given a better life here than they would get anywhere else in the world. To think,
bro, there are 56 Muslim majority countries, and none of them want to take the Somalis. Like these poor Somalis that are suffering, and not a single one of the Muslim majority countries, one of the 56 countries that are around them, none of them want to take them. They put them from steamy ass crack of Somalia all the way into freezing cold Minnesota. None of them want to take them. It's almost like they realize that A, there would be a net negative on the country, and B, they want them to conquer the world. They want them to outbreed us. It's literally both. It's pretty crazy. It's Pretty insane. No Palestinians either? Well, that's for multiple reasons. That's also because the Palestinians, every time they enter another country, they start a civil war and a coup. So when, you know, Palestinians were led into Egypt and they started bombing Egyptians, Palestinians were led into Jordan and they killed the king of Jordan in multiple assassinations. They let Palestinians into Lebanon and they started a civil war. So basically all of them basically say, no, actually, no one wants the Palestinians now. And they all built giant walls to prevent the Palestinians from getting in. So the Palestinians have like a whole other thing going on. But the reality is, there's a reason why no Muslim majority countries are taking these people. A, they'll make the countries worse, and B, they'd much rather them be here.
Thinking of these sanctuary politicians really makes no sense. How can you say that stuff on one hand and then at the other end say that ICE and law enforcement are wrong? I mean, without those things, none of the great...
I love how, like, this guy is being, like, super incredulous, you know? He's being incredulous. He's like, I don't understand why they're saying these things when in actuality, ICE agents aren't even going after illegal immigrants. Motherfucker. And I don't mean this as a roast. I like this guy. Don't get me wrong. It's obviously intentional. It is obviously intentional. This is just propaganda. It's blatant and obvious anti-American propaganda. And the goal is this globalist ideology of opening all the borders and literally everywhere to turn us all into slaves and hyper-feminize everything. Everything. And I can pinpoint the exact moment when it started. Pinpointing it, 1945. That's my hot take. They saw Hitler was bad and imperialist and nationalistic, and they're like, well, we're never going to have another Hitler. So now we all have to be absolute cuck slaves. We have to hyper-feminize literally every part of society and open infinite borders. To be like, nope, there are no more white people, no more nationalism, and just absolutely cuck the entire society while the elites sit in their gated communities, living at large, importing infinite retards to destroy everything else. And that's where we're sitting now. That's where we're sitting now. In a hyper-feminized society that's absolutely and utterly cucked. That's where it is. Pretty horrible.
Things about America will be here for much longer. And the only way you can get out there and get a microphone in your hand and say two things at once is if you benefit in some way from criminal activity. And I don't think Tim Walz is the only politician here that lets stuff slide for reasons that we're about to learn about. What do you think's going on here?
Yeah, pretty insane. So anyway, so that's what's going on in Minnesota. It turns out this is exactly how a lot of people are feeling right now, and people are not ready. People are not ready for the Zoomer one to actually gain power. The Boomers don't realize that the Zoomers literally do not give a flying fuck. See you in the next one. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.